the men in stripes are making all kinds of good calls in Albany tonight. West Virginia and Ohio, it's all about rolling hard and 0-0 one match throughout the entire state of Ohio for the next month and a half. Survive and advance.
Over the last 25 years, you have welcomed us into your homes.
Thanks for joining us this evening for the first ever edition of Gridiron Glory.
Covering the communities and stories that matter every Friday night.
And a lot of thanks to all the fans for letting me invade your fan sections for the past 2 years.
Capturing the moments turned into memories that last a lifetime.
I have to agree, the atmosphere at that game, I'll tell you, was electric. And I was only there for a quarter.
From the thrill of victory
to the agony of defeat.
It's a journey of resilience,
camaraderie,
and unbreakable spirit.
All in the hunt for glory.
And remember.
There's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
The wait is finally over. Football is back. Gridiron Glory is back for its 25th season, and I have the utmost honor of being your host. I'm Haley Hollinger, and I think it's about time we get into some football. Because this evening, the Gridiron was rivalry central. Frye and Barnesville met for the first time since the 2021 playoffs with a score to settle. Nelsonville, York, and Trimble gave us yet another roller coaster ride, and it turns out we're not the only ones with a 25-year anniversary, because Wheelersburg and Ironton celebrated their 25th Week 1 rivalry game this evening. SOC lead reporter Donovan Varney was there. Donovan, how's it going?
It's going good, Haley, and you're exactly right. High school football is back, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be than Ed Miller Stadium. This Week 1 matchup did not disappoint last year, and this year, well, it was no different. You're going to want to stick around later for my full breakdown of Wheelersburg versus Ironton later on the show.
But we still have a ways to go before we get the lowdown on that game. To start us off, we're going to go to Yoto, where there is a purple storm brewing between the Shermans and the Venton County Vikings. And TVC Ohio lead reporter Shane Scalfaro is here to tell us about how they're looking.
You're exactly right, Haley. Both Venton County and Yoto were conference champs a season ago, but the squads tasked with defending those crowns have some big changes. Starting with the Vikings, they graduated a total of 13 seniors, with the most notable being running back Garrett Brown and quarterback Parker Schonborn. Head coach TJ Carper is also gone, taking the head coaching job at Zanesville. As for the Shermans, they graduated 14 seniors, losing Yoto's all-time leading passer Newton Hoops, which could mean a massive shift for their offense.
And you were talking to me about how when this matchup happened last season, Yoto won by just 1 point.
Right, so not only is this game a fresh look at these teams, but also a chance for Venton County to get some revenge. Right away, it was Yoto that got off to a fast start. Handoff is to Ty Woods, and he bounced outside so fast, the camera lost him. He's breaking down the sideline. Let's speed that one up. This had the Shermans knocking on the door of the end zone. Quarterback Isaac Coy found Blake Hoops back corner of the end zone, 7-0 Shermans. Next Yoto drive, and it's 4th down. David Long puts it up, and it's intercepted by Clayton Lester. Vikings with a chance to punch it in, and they get stuffed just short of the goal line. Turnover on downs. Ensuing Sherman's drive, and Coy sends this one deep to a wide open Caden Cutright, and he is gone. Let's have him run a little faster. Just like that, it's 14-0 going into quarter 2. Fast forward to later in the quarter, James Reinhart gets the toss, gets some blocks, and takes it down the sideline. He gets stopped at the Vikings 6-yard line. The drive gets capped off by an Isaac Coy TD pass to Jackson Zikafus to extend that lead. The rest of the half was pretty much the same, which bled into the second half, with the Shermans winning 45-8.
So there was an evident difference in play calling with new head coach Marcus Games at the helm.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the offense was very similar to the one they ran last season. We talked about that personnel that was lost, but that didn't stop the Vikings from continuing to run their ground and pound offense. And when they wanted to air it out, it was mostly screen passes. And don't get me wrong, they were picking up yards with their style of offense. It was just short gains instead of chunk plays, which continuously had the Vikings looking at 4th and short. And they had some differences in the playbook as well. At one point, it looked like they were lining up for a makeshift brotherly shove, but there was a false start call.
And on the flip side of that, Yoto seemed like they were having their way on offense.
Yeah, we saw some big runs in the highlight call, and they were hitting some body blows and getting yards on the ground. In terms of passing, though, they really weren't missing a beat from where they left off the season ago. Even with a new sophomore starting quarterback, they were still throwing the ball all over the field and with good accuracy as well. This includes a touchdown pass that got called back by a penalty. Gotta give credit where credit is due, and Isaac Coy played a great game. If he keeps developing, he'll give defensive coordinators nightmares trying to prep for this offense. Keep in mind, VC went on to win 9 straight after losing to Yoto last season. Obviously, not time to hit the panic button yet.
Well, only time will tell if history can repeat itself. Thanks, Shane. Now, you all at home predicted the Yoto victory, or at least 63% of you did. The other 37% was for the Vikings. In our Trimble Nelsonville York fan vote, 62% of you picked Nelsonville York to come out on top. Were the fans right again, or did the Tomcats prevail? Let's find out. Now, let's keep the TVC talk going. Our next two teams have been playing each other every year since 1970. They may not be in the same TVC, but they're only 16 minutes away from each other. That's right, it's Nelsonville York versus Trimble, and who better to give us the ins and outs of this rivalry than TVC Hawking lead reporter Maddie Kiefer.
Thanks, Haley. Well, these two teams have been playing each other for a while, but their rivalry really didn't start to heat up until they designated playing Week 1 against each other every year since 2008. In those 16 years, these squads currently have an 8-8 record against each other. Now, the question is, which team will prevail to have the upper hand in the rivalry? These fans were excited to see their team take the field in the annual battle over the hill. I'm sick of waiting. Let's dive into this game. The defense was strong on both sides, with plays like these being the main highlight of the first quarter, which ended 0-0. But before long, Nelsonville York made a huge mistake with a high snap on a punt, which put Trimble deep in Buckeye territory. A few plays later, quarterback Brady J6 punched in the touchdown, and this man was pumped. The Tomcats lead 6-0. Although it didn't take long for the Buckeyes to fight back. In the next play, Cam Sullivan throws a beauty to Alec Thompson for a 67-yard touchdown. Doesn't get much better than that. NY leads 7-6. After that, it went back to a defensive slugfest with multiple stops, but NY stopped the pattern, with Sullivan throwing an absolute dot to the corner of the end zone. The Buckeyes extend their lead going into the half, 14-6. Moving into the third quarter, Trimble clawed into NY territory, but a costly mistake lost them possession, setting up for another NY score. The Buckeyes stayed ahead and took this one 21-14.
Wow, so it sounds like it was a close game. What helped Nelsonville York win?
One word, defense. The Buckeye line was like a brick wall, rock solid. It seemed like every single time the Tomcats tried to run the ball, they were met with multiple guys ready to take them down. Twice when Trimble was in the red zone, they stopped them just short enough to take away those possible points.
Defense wins championships, but so do standout players. So who stood out to you?
There was a clear star tonight, and that was NY's Cam Sullivan, who stands at 6'2" and 220 pounds, a much larger frame for a quarterback. Tonight, he did it all. He threw the ball for multiple touchdowns, dodged defenders on the run, including a 17-yard quarterback draw, and he punched the ball. What can't this guy do? Alec Thompson was also a standout, having not one but 2 touchdowns to add to his resume. His connection with Sullivan will be something that future teams will have to watch out for.
So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about Trimble. What really hurt them this game?
Many little mistakes harmed the Tomcats. As mentioned earlier, they were in the red zone twice and let those opportunities fade away. Along with that, penalties cost them precious yards that they just could not get back.
What's next for both of these teams, Maddie?
Trimble will get the opportunity to bounce back at Burn Union next week, and NY will get the chance to continue their dominance at home against Logan. And with game number 17 in the books between these two teams, NY now has the 9-8 lead in the Week 1 rivalry.
And maybe Trimble can tie it up again next year. Thanks so much, Maddie. Now it's time to trade our Tomcats for Tigers. OVC lead Lucy Schaefer joins us in studio to talk about Ironton's plan for the season. Lucy?
Thanks, Haley. The Ironton Fighting Tigers have handled business in the OVC since they joined in 2015, winning 7 conference championships in 9 seasons. But this year, they've decided to make a move in pursuit of their end goal, a state championship. As the Ironton Fighting Tigers have their home opener against St. Francis. But a team out of New York isn't usually on that schedule. Ironton's season looks a little different this year. They left the Ohio Valley Conference in football to play independently.
We felt like, if we wanted to get to where we wanted to get, we needed a little bit of a change.
Ironton has won the OVC title 5 years in a row, but the Tigers have always had something bigger on their minds.
And our ultimate goal is to win a state championship. That's what we want to do year in, year out.
Ironton has added several new opponents, including 4 from out of state. First-team All-State receiver and Ironton senior Sean Terry is optimistic about the move.
I'm looking forward to every single game. I'm excited for a tougher schedule. This is what we wanted, and that's what we're getting.
The Fighting Tigers have high expectations this season, more so now than ever in independent play. Running back Zane Williams says they know how to handle the pressure.
As our coach Jared calls it, he's rat poison. You gotta block that out and just focus on what we got to focus on.
Williams says stiff competition doesn't change their mentality.
We've always prepared hard, but we have looked into a little bit more on the tougher teams that we're going to play, but it's no different than usual. We prepare for everybody like they're a big-time opponent.
At the end of the regular season, Ironton will take the stage against familiar foes, OVC opponents Fairfield, Gallia Academy, and Portsmouth. Independent or not, the Fighting Tigers remain focused on what matters most.
This program is way bigger than any of us, and we don't take that for granted, ever. Pendleton says Ironton would be open to having conversations about rejoining the conference in the future. But for now, they opened their season as an independent team against Wheelersburg tonight, and I'm excited to see how that one turned out. Live in studio, I'm Lucy Schaefer.
28 minutes is unfortunately not enough time to talk in depth about every game we see every week. But that doesn't mean we're not going to try. So we sent our reporters out to 5 additional games. With that being said, it's time for the extra point. Let's get going with Portsmouth West and Fairfield, and all I gotta say is if I was running through that tunnel, I would be ready to tear the field up too. And tear it up they did. On the first drive, Fairfield's Ethan Hall sent the ball a-blazing down to Keegan Smith for the first tutty of the game. But Hall didn't stop there. Next man up, Jack Hayden. 20 yards to the house, no problem. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Dragons up 21-0. The Senators just couldn't keep up with Hall in the Dragons. Fairfield never loosened the reins and took the win 34-0. These run outs are so sick. And look how fired up these guys are. Here's Oak Hill's Eddie Abel finding his way around the Wellston defense. And he's going to go ahead and find Andy Meldick all the way in the red zone. And oh my, that was impressive. 7-7 Oak Hill. Hunter Collins bust his way through the offensive line to take down the Oaks QB in the end zone. That's a safety, ladies and gentlemen, 9-7 Rockets. And here you see the last score of the night, Wellston's Johnny Scott with a little trick play to make it 15-7 Rockets, and that is ball game. The Miller Falcons and the Eastern Eagles had quite the throwdown in Beaver. Beaver Eastern got to the end zone first thanks to a Logan Daugherty pick six. Talk about dialed in. He saw it coming miles away, putting the Eagles up a score early on. But Miller's Benjamin Bauer was not having it. Once he got the ball in his hands, he stopped for nothing, except maybe that pylon. 7-7 tie ball game. After a Noah Laymaster 31-yard rush for a touchdown, he missed the PAT. The Falcons and the Eagles found themselves in a double overtime, but Eastern came out on top 34-33. The Logan Elm Braves and the Zane Trace Pioneers had a similar first half. Logan Elm's Nehemiah Waugh got the two going with a beautiful catch. The Braves branched out and went for two, but were unsuccessful. 6-0 Logan Elm. The Zane Trace and Beaver Eastern coaches have to be friends because the Pioneers also responded with a pick six, Aiden Dunn with the run to tie the game 6-6. But Logan Elm got their get back. Aaron Walters found a Justin Markham who made his way to the middle to find the house and the lead. If his number is 23 and his name is Michael, you know you're about to see something great. Brave Michael Bach took it upon himself to get a bigger lead before the half, and Logan Elm would go on to win 33-27. Last, but certainly not least, we have Miami Trace and Waverly. The Panthers were left to play catch-up after the Tigers got the first score, but a little shove and Evan Colgrove was in the end zone for a tie to score to end the first quarter. Too much space is something the Panthers are bound to remember, but hand it to Mason Kelly because he stayed calm and got the ball to Caden Swords, easy peasy, 14-7 Miami Trace. And these two couldn't stop trading hits, literally, but Waverly pulled away, winning 28-23. So let's go ahead and get back in gear with two teams that have been waiting for a rematch for a while now, Frye and Barnesville. And here with me is TSL lead reporter Ashley Frye, and Ashley, you've been talking to me all summer about this game.
Yeah, Haley, I know some people may be tired of hearing me talk about this game, but give me 2 more minutes because these two teams haven't seen each other since 2021 when Fort Frye ended Barnesville's season in the regional semifinals for the second year in a row. And tonight the Shamrocks came to Beverly with a chip on their shoulders. So let's get right into it. Barnesville ran through that banner and pretty much straight to the end zone. There's Barnesville wide receiver Camden Carpenter on the opening kickoff return, running the ball all the way to the Fort Frye 20-yard line. Now, remember that last name because 2 plays later, there's Camden's cousin, quarterback Casey Carpenter, finishing that drive with a touchdown, 7-0 Barnesville. And I need to know what's going on in the Carpenter family because I think Kendrick Lamar might have written family ties about them. Here's Camden Carpenter again, but this time on defense, recovering a Fort Frye fumble and right into the end zone, 30-0 Barnesville. But I can't give it all to the Carpenters because sophomore Trey Tulliver said, "Look at me," with an 87-yard explosion to the end zone, 37-0 Barnesville. Halfway through the second quarter, Fort Frye finally seeing the board as freshman Luke Phillips caught a 69-yard pass to grab Fort Frye's first touchdown in his high school football debut, making that score 37-7. Despite momentum from this drive, Fort Frye would not be able to respond, and this game would end with a Shamrocks W, 51-16. This was a huge win for Barnesville, not even because of that score, but because of the history behind this game.
Oh yeah, this is the first time Barnesville has ever beaten Fort Frye. So how'd they do it?
I've got one word for you: physicality. Whether it was offense or defense, Fort Frye just could not keep up with Barnesville on that offensive side of the ball. Barnesville had a huge size and energy advantage on Fort Frye. They just would not go down. I mean, look at this clip of running back Kobe Jones like a wall against that Fort Frye defense, who also missed quite a few key tackles throughout the night. Defensively, Barnesville just hit harder and got there faster.
So a little bit earlier, you mentioned Camden Carpenter's name. Let's talk a little more about his contributions.
Yeah, when I say this kid does everything, I mean it. He had that defensive touchdown in quarter 1 and then a 20-yard offensive touchdown in quarter 2. He even snaps the ball for the extra point kick. This is absolutely someone Barnesville will want to take advantage of this season.
Speaking of this season, how does Fort Frye get back on track for the rest of it?
It's important to note that Fort Frye is a very small and young team. They have almost every single player going both ways. At Gridiron Glory Media Day, I asked Fort Frye head coach Eric Huck about those younger guys, and he said that the biggest challenge was that the physicality needed in games isn't there with those younger members. Like I said earlier, that physicality really stumped them, and I think that's something they will focus on for the rest of this season. And while Fort Frye looks for redemption next week against Belpre, Barnesville travels back home to take on Bel Air.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Now, let's go ahead and be honest. There is no such thing as too much football, and that's why you can find content like photos, game recaps, and highlights on our Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube throughout the week. And don't forget about the pregame huddle, our digital show where you can find game previews before Friday night rolls around. If it's SEO high school football you're looking for, we've got it. So let's go back to it with New Lexington and Fairfield Union. This is going to be a big season for both of these teams because they are hungry. There's a lot to prove tonight, and I think MVL reporter Stephen Caroli knows a thing or two about that.
Thanks, Haley. Now, this week 1 matchup is a prove-it game. The Panthers are returning a ton of talent this year, and the Falcons have improved every year since a 1-win season in 2019. The question is, who can make a statement? Let's find out and open with the first drive of the game. New Lexington put together a long drive using the run game. The Panthers burned 6 minutes and 6 seconds off the clock as Carson Kellogg provides the first score, 6-0 New Lex. The Panthers defense then forced a 3-and-out, and as New Lex gets started, here comes Hunter Clark. That's a brick wall. But on the next play, the Panthers are cool as ice. Isaiah Stevens connects with his main man, Bentley Hansen, for the long passing tutty. 14-0 New Lex. Turn me up, young man. On the next Falcon drive, tragedy strikes when Malachi Thresher is able to recover a fumble and give the ball back to his red-hot offense. Now let's set this up. First play of the drive for New Lex, and why not go deep in the bag like the Fries are at the bottom? Carson Kellogg connects with Tyson Spicer on the flea flicker touchdown. This offense is confident, 21-0 New Lex. Now Fairfield Union is driving in just another bad break as the snap is high. This set up 3rd and 13 and eventual punt. After a 1-play scoring drive for the Panther offense, New Lex wants to make a statement. Stevens delivers another great ball to Bentley Hansen for 6, and in the blink of an eye, it's 28-0 New Lex. The Panthers would go on to dominate this game and make a huge statement to the MVL Small, 49-7 over Fairfield Union.
What a performance by the Panthers. Oh my, this team looks dangerous.
They absolutely do, Haley. They really took care of things on all sides of the ball.
Now, this new Lexington team is returning a ton of players from last year. What jump has this team made?
The Panthers in week 1 looked like a complete football team. On offense, this team scored 7 touchdowns. Stevens and Hansen are absolute stars, with Hansen scoring 3 touchdowns and Stevens throwing for 4. On the defense, the rush defense was lights out for the Panthers, with Malachi Thresher leading the way.
Now, what does Fairfield Union need to do to bounce back?
The Falcons are inexperienced in the trenches and must progress on the line game by game. The Falcons also must open up the pass game to keep opponents on their heels. But Isaiah Saleh was the bright spot I saw for Fairfield Union. He was crucial when given space. Number 2 certainly has a bright future. Haley, I'm so happy to be back, and I cannot wait to see how both of these teams do moving forward.
Me too, Stephen. Thank you so much. Now, this week I had the pleasure of joining the fans in Wheelersburg. There were some hardcore football fans in attendance and some that couldn't care less. Either way, everyone had a ton of fun, and so did I.
We're up here in the pirate ship crew nest, and I'm here with
James Bays.
James, is this the best seat in the house, you think?
Probably. Noisiest.
Noisiest? And I noticed you guys got a little cannon there.
Yeah, it's my cannon.
That's your cannon?
Yeah, it's my dad and my uncle built it.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to tell me a little bit about your hair?
I just wanted to make it that color.
Who did your hair for you?
My dad.
You did his hair?
Yeah.
All by yourself?
Yes, I did.
Obviously, you guys, you have your chest painted. How do your parents feel about that?
They are supportive of what we are doing because we are supporting this team. We're going to beat Ironton, and that's all that matters today. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
How are you guys watching the game from back here?
Bored. We ain't.
You're not? Why not?
We just run around with our friends.
I saw your nachos over there.
Yeah, do you want to get close up?
Do I want some? Maybe I'll take a chip if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I haven't had any concession food yet, so I got to see if it's
pretty good.
Say it's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna take this small one here.
Not bad.
That's a pretty good nacho. Is football like the best sport ever? You don't want to watch the game?
No, we don't care about it.
You don't care about the game?
No, I just came here to run around with my friends.
How much do you guys think you're going to beat Ironton by?
49 now?
Win by 90. Win by 90.
49 now.
Win by 90.
That's our goal. Win by 90 is the win by goal.
Well, how much orange is currently all over your car?
Well, we have a towel against the seat so he couldn't lean back. And the seats are leather, so they clean up pretty easy, but it washes out pretty good. So.
Hey, you look like you need a shirt.
Oh, you?
Yeah, because.
I can't come up to you.
Well, but you're the fan of the week, so you're not going to wear it?
You're the fan of the week. Oh my gosh. I got you.
You got it?
I'll rep it.
All right, there you go.
Fan of the week. We have the fan of the week.
Yeah!
So now you know, if you happen to see me at a game, don't be afraid to come say hi. Who knows, maybe you'll see yourself on TV. Now, you've been hearing about this game all night long, and the wait is finally over. Here it is, our game of the week, the Wheelersburg Pirates and the Ironton Fighting Tigers. And you saw this guy at the beginning of the show, but now he's back.
Yeah, Haley, if you haven't had enough of me already, I'm back, and so is this Week 1 rivalry. I've been waiting for this one. 2 storied programs led by 2 legendary coaches. But before I get into tonight's game, I've got to take you a couple years back so you can understand the gravity of this rivalry, specifically before Coach Trayvon Pendleton got into Ironton. These 2 teams have been facing off in Week 1 every year since 1998, excluding the 2020 COVID year. That would make this, as Haley said earlier, their 25th consecutive Week 1 matchup. In the 4 season openers immediately before Pendleton arrived, Berg had won all 4. But once Pendleton arrived at Ironton, it became a much different story. Since then, the Fighting Tigers flipped the script and have won the past 4 home openers. Berg is going into this one looking to end Ironton's win streak.
Enough of the history, let's get into it.
If you see Berg's classic milk jugs out, well, then you're in the right place. Revenge is in the air, and so are footballs. First drive of the game, Pirate QB Braylon Rucker airs it out, only to find the hands of Ironton's Sean Terry for the interception. Not exactly what Berg had planned for their first drive of the season. Not long after, Zane Williams bulldozed through the D and found the end zone for the first score of the game, even giving the Pirate D a little flex after too. 7-0 Ironton entering the second, but Rucker thought it was time to even the score. A little shake and bake from 16 yards out and into the end zone for 6. That score wouldn't last for long. Next drive, Braden Streck connects with Terry on the slant at midfield. Sean Terry in the open field is any defense's nightmare. A couple bobs and weaves through the Berg defense, and the rest was all green. The 50-yard touchdown and the field goal before the half put Ironton up 17-7. The next half was much of the same. 2 more Sean Terry touchdowns, including this 42-yard bomb, and a punt return touchdown by Caden Edwards would all but seal the deal in this one, giving Ironton their 5th straight Week 1 victory against Wheelersburg. Ironton would defeat Wheelersburg by a score of 37-7 in the season opener. Sean Terry led the way for the Fighting Tigers with 138 receiving yards, 30 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns, while Braylon Rucker gave the Pirates some momentum with 45 rushing yards, 35 through the air, and a touchdown of his own. Haley, the final score of this one just doesn't do the game justice. Both teams came to play and did so until the final whistle.
A 30-piece on the Berg defense is almost unheard of. So what led to Ironton running away with this one?
Yeah, well, we saw a lot of what you typically see from the Berg defense, gang tackles and flying to the ball. But it was the big plays that put the Fighting Tigers in the driving seat.
How big of big plays are we talking here?
Haley, I'm talking a 50-yard touchdown, a 42-yard touchdown, and this 32-yard touchdown. A botched trick play just meant Sean Terry had some room to play with the Berg defense a little bit, flying all over the field and making 6 look easy right here.
What else pushed Ironton ahead tonight?
Well, outside of the big plays, it was long drives. The Fighting Tigers did a good job of keeping the Pirates off the field. A lot of big 3rd and 4th down conversions would extend their drives and keep the clock moving. Not only that, but I've got to shout out that Ironton defense too. They put pressure on Rucker all night. Very seldom was he able to stay in the pocket and get his reads downfield. That, coupled with those big plays on offense, would be enough for Ironton to get the win.
Well, thank you so much, Donovan, and we'll see you when you get back. That game never ceases to be amazing, but they aren't the only ones. The entire SEO made this an unforgettable Week 1, and we have the top 5 plays to prove it. Starting out with number 5, here we go. Let's get into it. Logan Elms, Aaron Walters is our first QB up. He was searching for a receiver, preferably from his own team, but Aaron Dunn had pick 6 written all over him, literally. What a read and what a run from Dunn. Next up, we're going to have play number 4, Nelsonville, York. Here we go. Cam Sullivan stepping back, looking all around, and there's Alec Thompson waiting to be found, and he finished the rest all on his own. Look at him go. Now we're in our top 3, and it's just getting better. Time must be on Oak Hill quarterback Eddie Abel's side. Or maybe it's just his offensive line. I can't believe the way he got out of that. He utilized his space so well, sends one flying to Andy Meldick for a tutty. And our silver medalist for the night, drum roll please. It is a Carson Kellogg bomb down the field, and the ball is going, caught by Tyson Spicer. Field position is not an issue for these guys. They can score at will. And now, the very best play of the night coming in at number 1. An astonishing move from Sean Terry. Terry never ceases to amaze me, and there is no phasing him. Quarterback, running back, just put him down as both. I'm sure this won't be the last time we see him in our top plays. Man. And with that, Week 1 has come to a close. But the season is just getting started. And if you didn't get enough Gridiron Glory tonight, that's completely fine, because you can find us on social media, whether that be Instagram or X or Facebook. And remember, there is nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
Support comes from Ohio's 529 plan, College Advantage, the tax-free way to save for education after high school. Ohio's 529 plan is accepted nationwide and is a resource for college savings. Information at collegeadvantage.com. Additional support from Donato's Pizza, featuring pizza, subs, salads, and catering from their Athens location.